something about revision because your exam is quite close, right? And maybe the next class we get a lot, but if we get the next class, whatever the remaining things are there, that we can just see. For today's class, therefore, let us see what can be studied. So it is something that poem which was done earlier, thing of beauty. So which was done earlier, but now it is to be taken for just a kind of revision. Now I think we all must be ready, even if you do not have the text, you just don't worry because the text will be there in the slides and the important points of the poem that we are going to discuss. Remember one more thing that this particular poem may be asked for some 8 marks. The another poem that is an elementary school classroom in a slum may also be asked for 8 marks. Then Rat Trap is a new chapter, so more focus would be there on that one. But that does not mean the enemy will be little lesser of importance. And I think my voice is audible to you, and I think title also can you see over here. Can you see a thing of beauty of boundaries, right? So yeah, and now as the poem is already known to you, I want you to just see what do you see here. The next name of the poet John Pitts and his birth and death and what he had written those important poems. Now in this background, let us now see a the poet John Pitts is the important works. Let us just see in the background. The background tells us he had written certain poems like the Endymion. He wandered through the forest and down the sea. Then a thing of beauty for Endymion. So what was that? A thing of beauty that it refers to that particular character on which this poem is written down. Yeah, my voice is low. Yeah, I forgot to put the mic on. Yeah, thank you so much for giving me a reminder. In the process of preparing, I just had to fix it, and in a short while I work for you. You see, yes. So, is my voice clear? Is my voice clear to you? I hope it is. Yeah, fine. So, thank you so much for giving me this response. So Endymion is the shepherd who wandered through the forest and down the sea he had gone, and then for him, whatever he saw over there, they were the things of beauty. This is there in the background. Thank you so much. All of you are giving me your response. Now you pay attention to the explanation being done. A thing of beauty for Endymion, whatever he saw in the forest or in the sea or the objects of nature, all those things they turn out to be a thing of beauty for Endymion. Then Endymion, as you know, he is a young shepherd. Then he had a vision of Cynthia. Cynthia is the moon goddess. Okay, and the vision is a dream, as he had a dream of this moon goddess called Cynthia. Our poem is an extract from the big poem called the Endymion, and Endymion he talks about the things of beauty, and that thing of beauty is a short poem is there for us. Then seeking the moon goddess, that is going in search of the moon goddess, that's what he does there in the, it is all there in the background. And he wanders through the forest and sea, then exploring the beauty of nature. I think here when we arrive at the last point, exploring the beauty of nature is something which is more relevant to us when it comes for our poem, a thing of beauty, joy forever. When he explores all those things of nature as beautiful, so in this poem, the speaker is actually Endymion. So he writes down those many things. What are those beautiful things? The sea, the river, the fountain, the greenery, All those things are the things of nature which are so beautiful. Then he even talks about the sun, the moon. In the next slide, I think I would be able to tell you what are those other things of beauty. And moving on to the next time. So, what is the theme of this particular, you can say, the poem? So, the theme of the poem, as you see in this slide, there are some themes like which refers to nature, next to beauty, and next to youth. So, these three themes are, very important themes which are covered there in the poem. So as you read the poem, there is a lot of description about the nature. The poet talks about the sun, the moon, the fountain, the flowers. So all those things are the things of nature. Then he talks about beauty, because these are the things of nature. They are at the same time so beautiful, and as they are so beautiful, there is something more. And what is that? It gives us joy, and a thing of beauty is, therefore he says, joy forever. Next he talks about another theme that we have rarely discussed, is something about the youth. The youth, according to the poet, is also something which is a thing of beauty. So it refers to the idea like somebody we consider to be quite beautiful. And this is the poem. Actually the poem we have already gone through. So let us just see the explanation part only, what it comes like. These So in the explanation, the first part, that means the first two stanzas, when we discuss, so beauty of nature is talked about, the things of beauty are talked about, and those things of beauty, as you read the extracts one after another, you will come to know. The bower created, that is the shady boon which a tree creates. So even that is also a thing of beauty. And the other things I already mentioned to you, the rills refers to the fountain, that is also a thing of beauty. The musk rose, it is also a thing of beauty. Daffodils, beautiful flowers, so they are also things of beauty. Then what happens if there are things of beauty? So they give us a permanent joy, a perpetual joy, a continuous joy, you can say. And this joy keeps coming, for us, as soon as we come in contact with such thing of beauty. He further goes on adding to certain points like not only those natural things, but also certain monuments which are created in the memory of those people who were there before some time, very strong and powerful. Even those things are also things of beauty. Now he talks, once you have viewed that beautiful thing, uh, it creates a memory, and that memory becomes permanent in one's life. For example, you pay a visit to a beautiful garden, like you go to Chandigarh, and there is one rock garden over there. As you see it by appearance, it does not give you an impression that everything is so beautiful. It appears like such a dry kind of thing. What is there to see? But as you proceed, as you just go inside the garden, you do come to know this garden is a special garden, because this garden has no such tree, no such plant, and no such greenery, and yet this garden is considered to be a garden. Then what is there? As you move inside, all those things are useless, which are broken, which are thrown away, and they are of no use to people. They are utilized in such a manner that it creates a thing of beauty. And once you pay visit to such place, I have personally paid a visit to that place somewhat like 20 years before, and I was amazed at the creation. Nekchand was the creator of that particular garden. So it gave me that experience of joy, having visited that, having spent time almost like 2 or 3 hours time over there. I was so pleased. I was so happy that this can also be a kind of creation. Yes, it is. But even now, as I am talking to you, that whole memory, that whole image, the my all my visit itself is coming back to my mind. So it is a memory, and that memory has become perpetual. It's all because of the spell of beauty. What we say, the impact of beauty and impression of beauty. Only 17 students are watching this class. you are very close to write your examination. Okay, the things which are discussed there in the class, they become quite so important for you. Anyways, moving on to the next slide. Then some other things as we discuss, what can be that is there, in the second part, as you come to know. So sweet dreams, that is bond with the earth, that you come across there in the second stanza. Despondency, a part of life, and improper ways that are there, which actually cause some kind of unhealthy kind of environment. It gives us sorrow, it gives us unhappiness. The first thing, when we talk about sweet dreams, see, how do we get sweet dreams? Sweet dreams do we actually get as we are able to experience that peace of mind. We are able to experience it's all cool environment for us, and as we find everything is all right, therefore these sweet dreams, they make us feel at peace. They give us the feeling of solace. As I think I had explained to you in one of my classes, when I had explained to you this poem, what happens when you get sound sleep? So you are free from all the worries, you are free from all the tensions of the world, and as if you are right into another world that doesn't remind you of your present world, which is full of you can say problems, worries, and tension. But as you experience, a thing of beauty, you are also bound to get another experience of solace, of comfort, of soothing environment, and there is something. What we say is he bond with the earth. So how do we make that bond with the earth? Every day do we make some or the other kind of effort in which we find there is something dear to us. Some things are dear to us, some creations are dear to us, and because of which we gradually become very much clung to, we get clung to the earth. That means we do not forget our roots, we do not go away from those roots. Then the poet says ki, though these things are there, the beauty is able to create that charm, but at the same time there is a kind of despondency in life, a part of life where you can experience there is some sadness, or there is some kind of sorrow is there in life. Or so what is that? It is it comes all because of despondency. But we don't have to tell ourselves it is going to be right permanent with us. It happens, it comes. Like all the things cannot be all right with us all the time. There are changes, they keep coming, good times and bad times, good people, bad people, good situations, bad situations, good luck, bad luck. All these are part of life, and we don't have to be very reticent about it, that only good things should happen to me. It's not so. Life gives us other aspects. So because in the light of something sad, something sorrowful, when you reflect the present situation, then you are able to understand the worth of it. Then next is the improper ways that cause unhappiness. So there are other ways also which turn out to be the cause for our sorrow. So the ways like unhappy things happening in our life, our own actions, certain times they turn out to be such that they do not give us good memories. And so these are some ways in life which make us sad, which make us feel sorrow. But that does not mean life is only just like that. So according to the poet, there are things like the bad things, they would sadness or sorrow, they are also not perpetual. They would vanish, they will vanish with a thought of only one thing of beauty. So this beauty also you can understand is something which is good, something which is positive, affirmative, that gives you something kind of good idea. So a thing of beauty, as soon as you are able to remember, recall, or just have a touch of it also there in the flight of your imagination, is capable of getting you rid of all sorrows and sadness. So I think if you can relate beauty, then you can have synonymous, meaning, and that is optimism. And this one has to adopt for, whole life. This is the right way. This is the right path that we choose. And because of this, we are going to experience solace. And this actually comes, this is brought by a thing of beauty. A thing of beauty has that particular capacity. It makes us realize there is something good, there is something useful, there is something, you can cherish, there is something that can give you positive vibes, and this is all is the charm of a thing of beauty. So we need to understand the worth of a thing of beauty. And as the first part you read out, so you come to know, okay, there are some poetic devices which are used over there, and one common one is this one, metaphor. So where do you get this metaphor? If you read this line, shady part in the garden, when he talks about, so shady part in the garden, that is by the tree, when he talks about, so it is a bower. The word bower, from here you can, it is just like a garden, but the poet says it is a bower. Instead of calling it it is like a bower, the poet says it is a bower. So what do you know, or what do you understand? It is the whole thing as if it is the same. For example, if I say he fought like a lion, then it is simile. Lion के जैसा उसने युद्ध किया, but if I say he was the lion in the battlefield, then both the things, as if lion and the person, they are just together the same, as if he was not he but a lion, and therefore it becomes a metaphor. So bower is one word. By that you get an idea. Okay, it is a shady boon. Instead of calling it, it is like a shady boon. Suppose it is like a shady boon, then the word like and as they are used, the figure of speech would have been simile. But the poet does not use it as simile. He uses it as a metaphor. The next one is alliteration. I think again quite easy for you. Though you generally go by alphabets. For example, band to bind, and next one is noble nature. Sometimes you might only say ki, alphabets are used over there, but beyond these alphabets, what you can say is ki the sound produced by the word, ki it is repeated. So, but for being very realistic, or as a student, you see the letters first of all, and if you find them repeated, just then check once that sound. So if you find that line there, wherein we bind ourselves to the earth, the flowery band that we wreath to bind, the band to bind. So sound of b is repeated, and therefore it is alliteration. Next one is noble nature. Sound of n, sound n is repeated by the letter n. So it is alliteration. Next is imagery. That is a flowery band. Flowery band, that refers to as you hear these words, an image is created, a picture is created in the mind, and this is what we called as imagery. A complete picture is created in the reader's mind, and that kids has been very much able to do so. So this figure of speech is called imagery. Now moving on to the next one, objects of nature. As we proceed with the description of the poem, so certain things again do we come across, and they are the objects of nature. So what are those other objects of nature which give us joy and happiness? So those objects of nature can be the sun, the moon, then old and young trees, and the flowers, daffodils. Of course, I did not mention here in this line, the musk rose. So, but even those things, I think maybe in the coming slides they can be. So, by this idea of flowers, you can come to know whatever the flowers are mentioned, they are also the things of joy forever. They are also beautiful things. The earlier poet talked about other what are other things which are so beautiful, that the shady bower and all those things. So next you come to know the sun, the moon, they are actually considered, generally considered to be the beautiful things that the nature has bestowed upon us. Then those trees which are young and old. Young trees, you just imagine a sprouting of a plant when it takes place, how delicate and how so beautiful it looks, and its color as it's from very light to a dark one as it moves, or the vice versa. All that is worth thing to be watched. As a child, you might have done some experiments also. It might have given you the feeling of wonder, and you go to such a green place, such a green vegetation, you go to meadows, you go to where there is a lot of grass all around, you would experience it is such a fabulous thing. So old and young trees, they also give us a lot of joy. Here of course the flowers mentioned are daffodils, and whenever it comes for you for practical giving answers, so of course daffodils and the musk rose is another example the poet has quoted over there. So but do you think that only daffodils are so beautiful and no other flower is equally beautiful? It's not like that. The poet means to say by this, all the flowers, either the daffodils, or you can say the mogra, the jasmine, or the roses, all of these are beautiful, the lilies, and all these are beautiful flowers, and they also give us joy. Say for example, you like the lily flower, so lily flower will always give you, some kind of joy and happiness. And when I talk about this one, objects of nature that we have done, the next one is seasons. Then he talks about streams and like coverlet. So these some ideas are there in the coming stanzas. I think in the third stanza that we come across, third part again we can say over there. So what all the seasons are beautiful, may it be summer, may it be rainy season, may it be winter season, all these seasons, they are so beautiful that they are contributory to the beauty of the whole you can say the world. In the summer, when everything becomes dry and we experience too much of heat over there, it is all required for the next season to come. When comes the next season, it rains, and you see in just 10 days time, or just around 10 days time, I must say, everything turns out to be back into life, and that is the power of seasons. And this is what is brought out by seasons. So seasons are also equally beautiful. Then streams actually he talks about. So by this any source of water, you can talk about the oceans, the rivers, the seashores, the banks of the rivers, the fountains, the ponds, anything that turns out to be a source of water comes under the term stream. And all those streams are also equally so beautiful. They make a cooling coverlet actually there in the poem, as if for the daffodils. So there is a fountain close by, and as the water falls from the streams and from the fountain, there is as if to protect these delicate flowers, a cooling coverlet is made by this particular stream. The droplets, you can say, the moist air, because of that it gives a comfortable environment. For example, we have got desert coolers in our houses, and in summer when that desert cooler is on, so the moist air that we get, it is as if so cooling and so comforting to us. Well, next we talk about technology, then it is AC. But for the natural kind of things, these are the fountains, these are the streams which are capable enough of giving wonderful joy. Now the next description that comes, it is there in the sequence of the poem. These slides are of course there in the sequence of the poem. Then he talks about musk rose, and of course they are also so beautiful. I think from when I explained to you the imagery of musk rose, the poet is not able to see there in the dark. He says yes, there may be some musk rose, only by fragrance you can make it out. It's so simple that you can just make it out by fragrance, but you are not able to see. So this is the capacity of the fragrance of that particular flower. It happens like in somebody's home, such delicious food is being prepared, the aroma that wafts by from the kitchen, it reaches you. It gives you a kind of feel as if something delicious has been cooked somewhere. So even if you do not know what is cooked over there, in whose home it is, but that smell of yours, that is your ability to smell, will make you go into that particular direction, and you might say approximately somewhere here lies this particular house wherein this food is being prepared. So you can say it happens when there are some beautiful flowers. Like I always consider the fragrance of mogra is so captivating for me. There used to be some plants there at my home, and early morning of summers when they would bloom, the fragrance that I would get there, it was just, catching all my nerves. It would be so enchanting. It would be so, cool kind of, feel I would get. So, so anything, any flower that you consider is so beautiful. The poet talks about musk rose. Musk rose has the capacity of giving emitting so much of beautiful fragrance that one can make it out. It is such a beautiful flower already hiding over there, though it is not seen, है ना? So domes of mighty dead. So the mighty mansions, the big houses, the big monuments which were once the possession of the emperors, the kings, and those people in power, though may not be there now, but they tell about the story of their valor, the story of their might, the story of their kindness, and they are also therefore things of beauty. Now here, from this line you can understand anything which is created, may it be a building, may it be a garden, or may it be any such structure, even the symmetry can also be a thing of beauty for the poet. And then I explained to you the Taj Mahal, of course it is in the memory of Mumtaz Mahal, but it is something, what you say is, though it is created in the memory of a dead person, but it is at the same time a thing of beauty. And then beautiful tales. Tales are the stories. So all those beautiful stories which are told to us from generation to generation by our grandparents, by our parents. So those things are a continuous source of pleasure and happiness. What I feel is as if the fountain of these beautiful stories, the poems, and all that is all the things of literature, as it pours down from above. It comes, unto us, and they are these things are as if giving us joy all the time. Now at this moment, only 40 now watching, it's pouring down, from the heavens brink. There is one line over there pouring down as if from the heavens brink. And now I think there are some lines which are quite so important to understand, and in these slides I covered those lines. Those lines, like a thing of beauty is a joy forever, its loveliness increases, it will never pass into nothingness. So what do you understand by this? Though say you see a beautiful flower today it is bloomed, tomorrow it may get withered, but the memory of that beauty which you had watched at that moment, that is perpetual. It will never go away. It will never wither. The physical flower, though it had got its birth once, it bloomed once, no longer does it survive, but those beautiful things are the things which always remain there in the mind. They become permanent memory, and its loveliness will not go with as if the flower is dead today, so it is no longer lovely for you. The every time you recall or remember that flower, it will give you the same kind of feeling of enchantment or happiness. It will give you always that kind of joy, so it will increase. It will never pass into nothingness, though it may perish after some period of time, but it's not that it will go into oblivion like nothingness. It will not have complete death of its. Next, let me just check what is there. The other important line for me is, therefore, it's coming right there for you. Just a second, please. And next is, therefore, on every morrow do we bind us to the earth. That is every morrow, that is every morning, do we bind ourselves to the earth. So this means that every morning do we do some or the other kind. Morning does not refer to only morning. It refers to every day. So every day do we get ourselves involved in some or the other kind of activity that make our bond stronger to stronger with the earth, and we get attached to the earth. We as if become the worldly creature, because we always find there is something great to cherish, or there is something great that we can always be very proud of. And next is yes, this one. Yes, in spite of some shape of beauty, there is some kind of despondency in life. Some shape of, in spite of some shape of beauty, there is, it moves away the pall. So it refers to the bad time, the sorrowful time it comes. Though there is, you can say, a thing of beauty, but there are people to find out something wrong, something, not so healthy kind of thing. And for them, there may be some kind of gloom in everyone's life, because it's not that life will always be pleasureful. It is both, like the coin has got, two sides, sometimes happy, sometimes unhappy, sometimes fortunate, sometimes so very unfortunate. But all those things, they are the part of life, they just keep coming and they just keep going. And but what becomes more important is, we have to just recall and remember, there is a thing of beauty which will always give us joy. And this joy is capable enough of telling us that there is optimism, there is something, you can say, um, positivity is there all around. And all such, too, is the grandeur of the domes, and dash the mighty dead. That refers to that line wherein you must have come to know. The poet says, these mighty domes, sometimes they were housed by important people, powerful people, the rulers. And now of course they are no longer there, but once upon a time as they were there. So they, gave us strong and powerful, you can say, period to enjoy. So they are also things of beauty, and as they are the things of beauty, they are also permanent joy for us. Okay, and endless immortal, next line that's coming up, let us check it out. And it is something about an endless fountain of immortal tales pouring unto us from the heavens brink. Are you able to see the lines? Okay. An endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens brink. This refers to those wonderful tales, those wonderful stories, written down, or, told to us from generation to generation. And those, all those things, they also are joy for, even now. Grandeur refers to beauty. Grandeur remains, yes, that grandeur remains, that beauty always remains, because that is a permanent, memory to us. Once it comes, for us to see it or to witness it, it does never go, and it always remains perpetual in our mind, in our memory. This is what we say, a thing of beauty is therefore joy forever. I think with these few important lines, you might have got the complete idea as to how you can, recall and remember. Well, John Keats was a romantic poet. He was English poet. The romantic term, romantic, actually refers to the group of poets who did not, find happy time in the society, and it was a kind of means of escape for them. So they would write something which was beyond the worldly world, beyond the everyday life, and that made them feel little happy. So one of them was John Keats. Others like Wordsworth, like, Shelley, Byron. So all these people, Coleridge is one important one. Okay? So all these things, these people have contributed in giving us joy forever. Now I think. For today's class, as I was able to cover this one up, one more chance I might get it, to explain some things to you. But in case, I do not get, I think probably I may get a chance tomorrow. If I do not get, so you just go through other poems too. One more poem is then elementary school classroom, and any such doubts are there, you can put them to me. You can also put those doubts of yours on my personal WhatsApp number. I'll always be there and so happy there to serve you. Okay? So bye bye for today. Bye bye. Can you cannot see my hand from, is it bye bye now? Okay, I'm